President Pence has to do is send it back to the states to recertify, and we become president, and you are the happiest people. Mike Pence is going to have to come through for us, and if he doesn't, that will be a sad day for our country, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Cruiser 50, it does look like we're going to have an ad hoc march stepping off here. There's a crowd surge heading east.
We love Trump! 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 We love Trump!
Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution and for the good of our country. And if you're not, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. I will tell you right now.
Get back, ladies! Get back, ladies!
Senate priority. We just had protesters. T circle, breach the line. We need backup.
Right here, goddammit! Let me do it! Let me do it!
Madam Speaker, the Vice President, and the United States Senate.
We're going to give riot warnings as soon as the outlet is here. We're going to give riot warnings. We're going to try to get compliance, but this is now effectively a riot.
49 hours declaring it a riot.
Cruiser 5 to 50, be advised, Capitol Police 1 advised they're trying to breach and get into the Capitol. 50, I copy.
Hold the line! 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 Break the line!
22, we're about 5 miles out. We're trying to make our way through all this. We have a breach of the Capitol! Breach of the Capitol to the upper level!
Jack, be advised they're requesting additional resources on the east side as they've broken into that window and they're trying to kick it in.
Without objection, the chair declares the House in recess pursuant to Clause 12B of Rule 1.
Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. U.S. demands the truth. Bring out Pence! Bring out Pence! Bring out Pence!
DC National Guard Chief, Pentagon took 3 hours to greenlight troops during Capitol assault. By Rebecca Shabad, NBC News, March 3, 2021. Initial request was made around 1:49 p.m. The administration did not authorize the deployment until 5:08 p.m. Washington, the commanding general of the District of Columbia National Guard, told members of Congress Wednesday that he had troops ready to deploy immediately to the Capitol on January 6th. but it took more than 3 hours for the Defense Department to give the green light. The commander, Major General William J. Walker, added that military leaders, including the brother of ex-Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, advised at one point during the afternoon that deploying troops would not be good optics. In his opening remarks before 2 Senate committees, Walker said that he received a frantic call from the chief of U.S. Capitol Police, Stephen Sund, early that afternoon about the security perimeter of the Capitol being breached. Chief Sund, his voice cracking with emotion, indicated there was a dire emergency on Capitol Hill, and he requested the immediate assistance of as many available guardsmen, Walker said in his testimony at a joint hearing of 2 Senate committees, Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs, and Rules and Administration. Walker said he alerted the Army senior leadership about Sund's request immediately after their phone call. The approval for Chief Sund's request would eventually come from the acting Secretary of Defense and be relayed to me by Army senior leaders at 5:08 p.m., 3 hours and 19 minutes later, he said. Walker said that by then, they had already ordered Guard members onto buses to move to the Capitol, and at 5:20 p.m., less than 20 minutes after the Guard finally received permission to deploy, troops arrived at the building. Walker said seconds mattered, minutes mattered, as events were unfolding. If he had been given the authorization to deploy the more than 150 troops sooner, he said, I believe that number could have made a difference. We could have helped extend the perimeter and helped push back the crowd. Also, unlike on January 6th, Walker testified that there was no delay in receiving authorization to deploy troops when the D.C. National Guard's support was requested to handle demonstrations in downtown Washington last summer after the death of George Floyd. After his initial call with Walker, Sund then passionately pleaded with Pentagon officials to approve his request for the Guardsmen to come to the Capitol in a call at around 2:30 p.m. with senior Army leaders and the D.C. government and police. Walker said, the Army senior leaders said that it did not look good and would not be good optics, Walker said, adding, they further stated that it could incite the crowd. Walker said he was told then Secretary of the Army Ryan McCarthy was meeting with then Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller, and they could not be on the call. But the senior military leaders who were on the call said it was their best advice not to have uniformed guardsmen on the Capitol grounds. Walker identified those senior leaders as General Walter Pyatt and Lieutenant General Charles Flynn, the brother of Trump's first national security advisor, who was pardoned by Trump after twice pleading guilty to lying to the FBI during the special counsel investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election and the Trump campaign. Michael Flynn also reportedly advocated declaring martial law as part of an effort to overturn the election and promoted the QAnon conspiracy theory, which was supported by some of the rioters on January 6th. Walker said he was frustrated by the military leader's response. I was just as stunned as everybody else on the call, he said. Ultimately, once D.C. National Guard troops arrived that evening, they helped re-establish the security perimeter on the east side of the Capitol to allow for the joint session of Congress resume in counting the Electoral College votes, he said. The other witnesses at the hearing were Melissa Smyslova, who is performing the duties of the Undersecretary in the Office of Intelligence and Analysis at the Department of Homeland Security, Jill Sanborn, Assistant Director of the FBI's Counterterrorism Division, and Robert Salesis, who is performing the duties of the Assistant Secretary of Defense, focused on Homeland Defense and global security. Salesis said in his opening remarks that Miller ordered the full mobilization of the D.C. National Guard at 3:04 p.m. Eastern Time to provide support, and McCarthy then directed the Guard personnel to initiate full mobilization. But Salesis later clarified during questioning from Senator Roy Blunt, Republican Missouri, he meant troops were called into the armory, not actually mobilized to the Capitol. Following a review of the plans for the support mission, the Secretary of the Army got approval from the Acting Defense Secretary to deploy at 4:32 p.m. and ordered the D.C. National Guard forces to depart the armory for the Capitol. That decision by Miller was not relayed to Walker until 5:08 p.m., more than 30 minutes later, Walker said. That's a significant problem for the future, Blunt said about the communication delay.